Okay, so welcome to another episode of the Zero10 Podcast. And we have a wonderful guest here today, Trish Bauman. And Trish is a good friend of mine, and Andy knows her. And I'll let them share that
Trish and I have met, yes.
um, yes, and so through her spa, and we invited Trish to come chat because she is someone who balances a lot of things in her life, and she commutes and takes care of babies and a husband and two offices, and is a great friend. So I think we can learn a lot from her. So that's why I thought Trish would be a good person to join us. Trish, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, you guys. I feel honored and privileged, but I don't know if I can necessarily educate at the level that you guys are expecting, but we'll see. I'll share all I can. I was born and raised in North Dakota. I always tell everybody that I fell in love with a handsome cowboy. So I started my business in Bismarck, and then we added a Linton location because that's where the cows are. So cows couldn't move to Bismarck, so I moved to Linton. So yes, I managed two offices, and then my husband and I are blessed with three, I'm biased, but beautiful children. So I got two boys. I got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So very busy.
Yeah. What do you do? What's your
So I have Bauman Financial. So we're a financial and insurance industry-based business. We help people with health insurance and Medicare, and then we also help with wealth accumulation and retirement income planning. So kind of all different stages of life, and try to educate clients to help make them good, sound decisions as they prepare for the next chapter that they're entering.
A lot of
Things
a lot of emotion.
yeah, there's a lot there.
in that.
Yeah.
Where did you start though? Did you start in financial planning?
Actually, so I like straight out of college, I always thought I wanted to work at a bank. And I started working for Wells Fargo. And that didn't last very long. And then I had a New York Life partner recruiting me, and I had a couple interviews with them, but it was like a commission-based industry, and I just couldn't leave at that time. My $12 an hour, I just couldn't fathom that security, and they were going to fast track me, so I was going to get up to like $14 or $15 an hour. So I said no to them a couple of times, and then I actually didn't really care for the like corporate Wells Fargo day to day. It kind of got a little bit pushy in the sales role, and I would say that it felt very ingenuine to like the best interest of the client bases or clientele that they had. And so I came back to the New York Life and said, okay, I'll maybe try it. My husband was he was my boyfriend at the time, but my husband now was a big advocate for that. He just said, if you don't like it, you just move on to the next one again, right? Like you don't have to stay stuck with what you don't like. And then I ended up really liking it. And I'd say I did okay initially. And then I just kept on looking for ways to grow and smooth out my income because it was commission based. So we added in 2014, I partnered with a PNC agency to kind of lean on them and cross sell and help business, actually specifically like business owners with employee benefits, doing the retirement 401ks, simple IRAs, and health insurance. And then in 2016, we added the Linton office because I got really tired of driving back and forth from Linton to Bismarck, an hour commute every day. So that gave me some flexibility to work in town. And then 2018, we added Medicare. I took over for a lady that retired. And so we added some Medicare to everything that we do. And then, I mean, fast forward 2020, I think we added another advisor, and I've had staff, I don't even know since when, probably 2014, 2014, I think I started with my first part-time staff. So constantly growing. I feel like we're a little bit at a very good spot. We could always add, but I really love the team that I have right now. So very blessed.
When did your kids come into the picture?
So 18. So I acquired a brand new book of business from the gal that retired, and also found out I don't even know the time exact, but we were ready to sign the contract, and I had a huge payment and a huge liability and a big transition to make sure I didn't lose any clients. And I also found out I was pregnant within like 2 days. So I think I found out beforehand because I was trying to ask my husband if we really should do this if we have a baby coming. And he said, well, if there's no baby coming and you'd say yes, why would a baby make you say no? So we pushed forward, and I went through, if you know anything about health insurance or Medicare, there's an enrollment period. So that's like October 15th. And then with individual, it goes to kind of December 15th, and baby came November 30th. So it was busy. And that was one kid. I had two more, obviously. My third one came 2 weeks prior to enrollment period. So I had a 10-day maternity with her, and then pushed through an enrollment period trying to meet with like 600 clients, and then, babies that work with me, and hey, I need a 15-minute break to nurse. And my mom helped a lot that season to get me through. It's obviously a team effort, a lot of good people in my circle. Oh, Miss Josie, I can't hear you.
I'm going to interject while she's figuring that out.
Okay.
Let me bump back for just a moment.
Yeah.
P&C, what does that mean to like the layman?
Oh, sure. Yes, sorry. Alphabet soup. I should know better, but property and casualty insurance. So I don't offer any property and casualty insurance, but at that time, which gentleman actually ended up passing away, so the partnership has dissolved. But he predominantly worked with people in the oil industry and was doing insurance for like big truck fleets. Anybody that's got needing insurance for their businesses and or vehicles, their fleets. But you might see property and casualty just for like your home, boats, toys.
Sure.
That we carry insurance for. Yeah.
Got it. Are you back up, Jose?
Am I?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. Okay, awesome. That's like, yeah, that's a lot of different clients that you're working with, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing to do?
That's challenging to answer. I'd say my favorite thing to do is like retirement income planning, helping people transition from like the workforce to like where they're paying themselves with the assets they've accumulated. So that's probably my favorite. And that probably double dips a little bit, but I do like my Medicare business as well. Probably though, because of the demographic I'm working with. So like that age demographic, my 65 years and older, they're so appreciative of anything that you do for them. So just helping them, and they never miss an appointment. If they do, they're just so, I'm sorry, and they're respectful of my time. And, unfortunately, you don't always see that with some of the other generations. So I think just the people I get to work with is probably part of the reason for that, is that I get to work with that age demographic.
Yeah, I know. And Trish and I have talked a lot about this, but about bringing people onto the team, and when is it a good time to grow? When is it a good time to, so just keep the pace of where you're at? How can we use people in a way that's going to be beneficial for everybody, including like, them, including your clients, right? Like, how can we serve these guys better? And all the different things that came into your lap, would you say that you search for that, or just like it fell into your lap, like the Medicare and things like that?
Well, the Medicare didn't fall into my lap. I got really tired of going through, I mean, being on commissions, your income would be, maybe not very good one year and really good another. And Wade and I knew we wanted to have, my husband and I, Wade, wanted to have kids. And we were like in our 30s, and it was like, okay, if we don't, at some point the clock is ticking. So I wanted to figure out fastest way to grow your business and add some stability. And so I just hopped on Google and said way to grow your business. And it said acquire another business. So then I started searching. So I had actually reached out to Arlie, who was retiring, didn't know her at all. And she was kind of like, who are you? And what do you want? No, and I said, well, if now's not the best time, which it wasn't, it was entering one of those enrollment periods. I said, could we sit down at the beginning of the year and get a cup of coffee and just talk about what your plan is? And she said, sure, and kind of click. And then I sent her a Christmas card and just said, I hope you got through the season really well. And I'd still love to chat with you if you're open to that. And I think, again, she's, was pushing 70. So that age demographic, she was just appreciative of kind of maybe the nostalgic handwritten card. And it, stuck with her a little bit. And then our relationship actually really grew. She was a great friend through everything.
Didn't she work with you too afterwards?
Yeah, that was part of our agreement though. I mean, she kind of probably wanted to be done, just she was 70 years old. Or give or take, I'm probably off on her age, but she was older, so she was ready to be done. And she had worked with her husband her whole life, and he had passed away. And so it was more than she wanted to manage. But I just felt like in order for clients to know that my office and our agency was going to continue to serve them and deliver the way that she had for all the years that she had done it, I just felt like we needed to really at least one season go through it together. So that was part of our transition plan.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. Tell us about your kid. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just elaborate though, like as far as, you saying, did I want it or have I looked for it or did it fall on my plate? I mean, I think there's times, that super high anxiety, super stressful. Like, my third child was coming. It pushed me because I knew that I couldn't go through an enrollment period taking a tiny, tiny maternity. And you have no idea. Like I got fortunate that there was no complications with her delivery and her as a baby, but I still knew that I couldn't do it alone. So I was like, okay, I need to grow my team this year. Like I was pushed to do it. It wasn't necessarily super methodical. Outside of that, that's probably my challenge right now is I think like you talked about, we're really comfortable and I have a great team right now. And so do you continue to just kind of stay where you're at and do a good job with what you do, or do you continue to try to grow? And so I don't know if I ever have the answer, but I'm always looking. So slow to hire, quick to fire is something that I'm trying to remember as far as always looking to grow the team. But if you don't find the right person, that's okay. Be patient.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. What would you say is it's like to have two spaces? Like two spaces.
I enjoy it. I don't know, Andy, you just told me before we jumped on that you have two. And number one, I'm class B.
Three?
Through and through. Oh, three. Well, right, but small town now. So we've got I'm class B through and through. I love it. I love going to Bismarck. I love having being able to do still some of the Bismarck city things, but yet I really like being able to get to my office and up to the school or grab my kids in 3 minutes. I mean, that's nice. I love being able to know most of the community. And it probably doesn't get, my days aren't mundane at all. So I like the mix up because it probably adds a little bit of, I don't know. I don't want to just fun, excitement. I mean, I don't know if it's that fun, but I get podcasts and audiobooks, when I'm driving, or that's when I get on the phone and touch base with my friends because they know I'm a caller, not necessarily always a texter because I'm behind the wheel, and get to
Yeah.
catch up with people that way too. So I like
Yeah.
it.
So you're using your commute in a productive way that brings you joy.
Some days I'm probably like doing an audio book that's more for like a fictional or something like that. But yeah, I try to make sure that it's somewhat productive, some kind of personal development or just, you know,
Enjoy.
yeah.
Enjoyment's good. Enjoyment's
Yeah.
good. Awesome. So Trish used to rodeo back in the day.
Yes.
She's a rodeo girl as well. Is that how you met Wade?
Kind of. It was through rodeo. We were both out of high school. Wade was out of college. I was just finishing up college. And I went to the high school rodeo finals. We each have a sibling that are the same age. So we went down to Bauman and we're down there watching our siblings, and we were introduced by one of the rodeo dads at a bar, and I guess the rest was history.
Yeah. He swept you off your feet.
Yeah, I get, yes, he did.
Kind of.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
He I'm trying to think, like he was like, I don't know, you're just something special. And I'm like, okay, that just feels like a line. But he was asking me out, you know, we were official within a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Tell us about, did you rodeo in college? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so right after high school, I went to Bismarck State College, and I had turned down a rodeo scholarship and then kind of started regretting it. And so I called Sheridan, Wyoming rodeo coach up and asked if she still had any money left, if she'd still want me. And she said, sure. So I switched at the semester, and then Sheridan's just a junior college. So I rodeoed there for a year and a half and then transferred to NDSU and finished up over there and rodeoed another 2.5 years.
I almost went to Sheridan, and we would have been there at the same time.
I know, that's crazy.
And then we would have met them.
Yeah.
We still met, but yeah. So
Yeah, I feel like
how I met Trish,
super small world.
it is a small world. I met Trish because she invited me to a women wisdom and wine group that she hosted in Linton. Does it sound familiar? Like it was networking, but not, you know. So
Yeah, I wanted it to be like women business owners supporting women business owners, because I think that there's a lot of things like, I mean, when I even started, it wasn't like, oh, I'm owning a business. I just started with a job that could be a career, but never did I think it would morph into having employees and office spaces. And there's a lot of things from, I mean, employee handbooks to uh, just, you know, how do you track hours? What do you do for payroll? I mean, that you just don't know. And then you all of a sudden have to learn it. And so having a community that you could lean on, and then obviously being in Linton, it kind of just, there were some additional people that we had that weren't necessarily business owners, but just who were growth minded, um, you know, individuals that could really
leadership roles in something,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Are you part of anything right now? Any groups or anything?
So that one is kind of fizzled. I think if one day any one of us were like, hey, let's get together again, I think it would be very easy to get us back together. I hate to admit that I'm not real active in anything right now. I'm just trying to get back into some of like even the community things, like our chamber and everything. I felt like having the kids, I went through this like hiatus of I don't have enough room on my plate for anything else. We do a lot in our office. We do a cultural development or a character building thing where we'll do a podcast or a book just as a team and try to grow and have good culture within the office. But I will say my youngest is starting to we're working on potty training soon. So as she gets out of diapers and gets a little more independent and I get a little more free time back on my plate, I'm sure something will come up.
Yeah. Who would you?
How much do you place a lot of importance on networking and finding, you know, a group that you can people that you can just call up if you have a question? I mean, what kind of value has that brought to you as a business owner?
Yeah, like I actually just finished. In fact, I told Josie about this. She was doing some travel abroad. But I just got to go through the 10,000 small businesses, Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses course, and 10-week course. That was this year. I've been working a lot on more designations and education just for myself right now. So I guess that's maybe why it's not necessarily community, but yet like that Goldman Sachs class was phenomenal, and it was for any small business owner. And so I feel like I got a lot of good connections there. Same thing, we still meet. In fact, I don't know if it's going to be quarterly or semi-annually or whatnot, but we've got monthly meetings, and then we're trying to get together face to face, every once in a while as well. So we have a get together in Minot in September that I'm excited about. And we get to go around to 5 of the different business owners and see what they've done and just get together and brainstorm. So I think that my value is probably less on networking to gain client base at this point in my career. And I mean, obviously we still want more clients and stuff, but we are fortunate that we get maybe a lot of referrals and it's pretty organic right now. Whereas what I probably look for the most is like that community on like being the leader. Like, how can I be better so that the people on my team can be better and the best version of themselves too. So that's probably what I look for the most.
How did that work with Goldman Sachs? I can't remember. How did you get involved?
My friend works for the state, and there was a notice that came through there, and she had just forwarded it on, and she had actually sent that to me in 2023, which was the year that my daughter was born. So it's a pretty rigorous application process. So you do an application, and then if you get through the first round, then you have to submit financials. And then they look to see if you meet the financial requirement. So you have to have revenues at a certain level, and you do have to have at least one other person on your team so that you can step away from your business to work on your business rather than in your business. And then they do a face-to-face or a virtual interview. So got through the interview process. But yeah, luckily just was given the information from a friend, and then it just seemed intriguing to me. So went through with the application. And so I actually declined it the first time around in 2023 because I was like, well, I'm having a baby. We have some federal changes that are hitting our office. So we got like over 600 meetings we need to have, client appointments. And yeah, did I mention I'm having a baby? So like, no, I was like, I can't do this per the requirements that they had asked, because they ask you to take a solid 15 hours a week out of your business to focus on the class. So it felt like going through like a little bit of a college course. And then when it came back around, I reapplied and got in the second time again. So there's only been 2 cohorts in North Dakota, but it's a nationwide program.
Okay.
I strongly recommend it, or if anyone, yeah, it was great.
Andy, we'll write that one down. We can go together.
I have gotten invitations to apply,
Yeah.
and same thing. Like I guess I looked at the requirements and I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can commit to that. And I also think I've been at a point for a while, it's similar to Trish, where it's more important for me to build my own skills as an individual versus networking, which I'm sure that Goldman Sachs probably did do that for you, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Goldman Sachs curriculum is really like, I mean, everything from how to negotiate. That one was really interesting. I always feel like in another lifetime I would have been an attorney. I like to sometimes negotiate. So that was awesome. But reading balance sheets, knowing cash flows, knowing like if you need to go being bankable. So if you need financing for your business. I mean, again, it was like very much on running a business. And so the network piece of it is just having other business owners in your circle that you can also like confide in and tell, confidential information to, and know that it's safe there. And then they're probably going through similar things or maybe have been through something similar. So hiring, knowing when to let go, having, the proper documentations, things like that. It was very, very good.
Yeah. Speaking of like confidentiality, we've all worked in small towns or even Bismarck itself, right? Like knowing a lot of people and then seeing them often and interacting with them in other ways other than business and everything. Do you find that difficult at all in your line of work? Does it matter?
I mean, I guess I don't know if I find it difficult. I mean, it's an aspect of my business, but it always has been. I mean, you work in a bank, anytime you're dealing with financials or people's personal information, it's important. And I think if we didn't do a good job, you wouldn't get people to come to you. Um, and I think it's fairly easy. I mean, if you have a story that you're trying to tell to a client, I have a client that's done this, right? Like you don't have to divulge numbers or names or anything like that, but it helps sometimes them understand that they're not the only person going through this, and there's more than one way to plan, or different plans to have. So what works for one doesn't always work for the other.
Right. Right. What works for you? What do you do for yourself? Planning
On,
wise? Like what's
on like
important?
financial,
Yeah, what's important financially for you?
well, I think, you actually introduced me, I think, to Profit First.
Okay.
And that was something that I didn't probably have like anything systematic for my business. I was always putting money into retirement and just going through the motions, but I would say reading Profit First and having a little bit more of intentionality with where my money is going and when my money is going into those places. So that was probably my biggest like aha moment, I feel like. And so I would start taking, I mean, for those that don't know, Profit First, I would pay myself first a salary. I'd make sure that my expenses are covered, and then I made sure that my business savings are built up, and then yeah, just
Wrote that book. It was like Mike
Mc-
McCloskey or it's some
yeah,
yes.
I want to say like I have it right here, but I don't. I know it's in the other room. So,
Great
yeah.
book. Great book. It completely changed my business as well once I started
Yeah, and I think
incorporating
it hit
those.
my business at a really good time. That was also because I was starting to see a lot more revenue than we had seen in the past. And so money was coming in and it was like, where should it go?
Mm.
And so by delegating it that way, I just feel like I never have money because I'm putting it into the right buckets and still trying to live within, my means,
Those
and as if life hasn't really changed.
right.
But
But yet
so,
things are changing
but
in the
things are changing. Yeah.
back.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
No, that makes sense. Um, so tell us about real estate because you bought this building in
yeah.
Lincoln, right? So
Yeah.
how do you go about real estate these days? What do you think about?
Well, because you're my friend. So I wish I had more real estate inside my portfolio. The Linton office was purchased because I was looking at renting initially, and then the rental space prices for, actually probably a little smaller space was probably similar to the mortgage because property is fairly inexpensive in a small town like this. So I just decided, oh yeah, let's just buy it. Like, I mean, my payment's gonna be about the same. Well, you kind of forget about the property taxes, the insurance, the utilities, and some of that. So it actually, in all sincerity, is probably double what it would have been if I would have rented. But again, it was one of those things that like you just make it work, right? A new payment, you figure out how to make that payment work. So I'm done paying it off at the end of this year. So finally free.
Yay.
That's exciting. I've looked in Bismarck. I've got a realtor constantly looking. He knows what I'm kind of after, but I'm also trying to be specific and particular about it because I have learned through even like personal purchases. I had a condo that we purchased in Bismarck, and location is definitely key. And you should be happy about what you own. I've decided that that's a real thing too. So if you're not proud to own it, maybe it's not a good purchase. I learned that from a gal that does a lot of real estate.
I like that. Yeah, makes sense. So what do you do? What would you say like keeps you grounded as a human, as Trish, to keep you going and all this stuff?
Um, I think it's different for me just having, kids and the chapter of life that I'm in. Like, if I don't, I'm letting them down. But now that, as even the office has grown, I've got a team. So if we don't succeed, if I would ever have to let somebody go because I'm not profitable enough to pay their wages, it trickles down so much further than just me and my family, because it's impacting them and their family and their kids. So sometimes you don't want to, but you just keep doing it. You have days just like everybody else where you would like to just lay in bed or um, take a personal day, but it's a little harder, I think, when you've got a lot of people that you're responsible for their success. So I think I just push a lot of times. I mean, we talk about that. I don't know any better, and it's probably a blessing and a curse all at the same time. Because there's things that I should do for myself personally, just Trish, not Trisha's family, not Trisha's husband, not Trisha's kids, that I don't take the time for, that I wish I took more time for. But yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Andy? Do you have any questions for her?
I'm just sitting back enjoying the
Isn't it
conversation.
good? She's such a good
quite
speaker.
quite honestly.
So clear.
I do where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a good one.
I I think there's things that I want in 5 years, not necessarily like a whole big picture. So there's a couple designations that one of them I'm working on right now. So there's 2 designations that I'd like to have wrapped up in the next 5 years that would benefit our office, I think, and just our client base. The more I can do for them, I think the better off they'll be and the better off the office just wins as a whole. I would like to see one more, probably Medicare's health insurance salesperson that could maybe cut back on some of my travel time. And that would allow me to be in Linton and or with the family. Especially as the kids get older, I see all these moms around here and dads too, right? But like the kids get busier and busier in activities, and I want to be able to make sure that I have the freedom to be there. So those are just things, I guess, in the next 5 years that I want to accomplish. Been working on building a house. Josie knows that one. So in the next year, hopefully we're in the new house, and that also puts some stability into the busy schedules that we currently have.
You have pivoted so much in the
I
last
know I can weave
4 years.
I can weave a lot. I'm sorry. I'm all over.
No, not in your conversation, in life. Like you've moved a couple of times. You've just made it work. So what would you say is when you realize that it's time to pivot, or when you realize it's a time to push? Like, do you feel like you know that?
I don't know if there's one thing, because again, it's what's in front of you, and you kind of have to prioritize and say, like, what's number one that needs to be done. And so sometimes, have you ever read Ula?
No, you guys have talked about it.
Okay.
Wasn't that
Andy,
something
have you
from
read
North
Ula? Are
Dakota?
you at least a little bit familiar?
I'm familiar.
Okay.
I'm
So
vaguely, brief,
yeah,
little bit
so
familiar.
Ula is a great book because it talks about the 7 F's in our world, and I probably can't even name them all, but like, you've got family, and you got your field, which is your career, you got your faith, you got fitness, you got family, and there's all these pulls that we have in life. And the reality is I think when we talk about like work-life balance, people they envision this perfect where I'm allocating 15% to each of these. And that's what it is all the time. And I don't think that's reality. So I have to identify which of those F's, which I'm not necessarily like looking at only the F's, but I think they cross over into a lot of different ways you can categorize them. But if it's my career that needs the focus, like that's where I need to, if it's enrollment period, that's probably where a lot of the focus is. But I will say in like the summer, we're a little bit slower. And so I try to really make sure that I'm doing the things that I get to do with my kids. Cause I also know that I only get 18 summers with my kids and they're gone. And Britt's 6. So that means I got 12 more summers with him and that's it. And I have 12 summers to create memories with him that hopefully he gets to take with for a lifetime, you know, and raising his family. But I also have to make sure I'm trying to mold him into a good human being. And so your time is limited on some of those things. So I think it's just being able to prioritize based off of like the season.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well,
So,
thank you so much for chatting with us.
yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
So if anybody wants to get a hold of you or connect with you, what's the best way?
Again, I'm a caller, so I love when people just call us. So, giving us a call, or you can go to our website, just to see our contact information, Bauman-financial.com. Phone number is 701-258-6644. You can shoot us an email. Any of those avenues will work.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, that will be all for today. Thank you so much for
Thanks, Trish. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having
Been
me.
great.
sharing your wisdom and love, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you guys.